yeah, that just spun those 335s like they were nothing. I mean, there are pictures of this car in corners with glowing red hot rotors in the middle of the day.
Wow.
With full sunlight. So that's how hot we got the rotors on this thing.
It blows my mind how controlled that feels.
It has all four wheels, by the way.
That's all four wheels.
All four wheels.
U-turn.
Yep.
What's up, everyone? I'm here with Eddie with Revolt Systems.
How you guys doing?
Today we're going to go on a big drive. It's beautiful weather, and we're going to test this thing out and see how it goes.
Let's go have some fun.
All right.
This is why we do this, right?
That's right. I still can't get over how meaty these tires are.
Oh, there's a lot behind there. And they feel very small when you're in the car because they just light up. Obviously, safeties are our number one concern around here. I don't know who was in here before, so it may need to be adjusted. And I'm big about seatbelts. They've saved my life once. And that was enough for me to realize that you gotta put them in. Now, in the case of emergency, you gotta get out, pull the red handle down, and everything falls out.
Everything falls out, red handle down.
Just, all you gotta do is pull it.
Tighten these here.
Yeah.
What's the story there where seatbelts?
Well, you know, I've been in a few rolling cars, but recently I flipped my tractor. It went completely upside down on me and I rolled backwards. I did a backflip in it, in my skid steer.
Dang.
And if my seatbelts weren't on, I would have been crushed.
Dang.
And ejected. I almost don't die. It's funny, I got in and something stopped me and said, put your seatbelts on. So I put my seatbelts on and literally not 8 seconds later, I was upside down.
Good thinking.
Yeah.
Good thing.
Let's get rolling. This humidity's killing me. I just got back from Florida, so like, where are we? We're in Florida again.
It kind of feels like Florida.
Terrible. I was just in Boca and it was so hot.
The plants are right. Got the bird of paradise over there.
Yeah.
So this is a track car. Where do you typically track this car?
I mean, it's built for the track. I mean, we've been down Hallett Raceway. One of my guys, Josh, that you met this morning, he's a big track guy.
Okay.
He loves the track.
Really?
And I just don't really have time for it, but the car is built for it. It's been tested. We actually take a lot, like, I take it up Palmer Mountain here, which is our local mountain. And that is, I mean, that's better than a track.
Yeah.
It's got off-camber turns, changing radiuses on the turns. Like, everything is very dynamic on that mountain. And it's a great place to go test things. I take this car up actually pretty consistently.
Oh,
so
fun.
that's my track time. And but it's a very well-known mountain for testing. A lot of bikes go up there.
Oh, cool.
And this car eats that place up. It's really a very, very. I'm still now. I feel pretty good about the mountain that I know where the corners are. I'm getting more familiar with it.
Got it in your head.
Yeah, I got it in my head, but it's still it's a tricky one. And there's a couple turns on there that. Would you think you figured them out? They come out and bite you. So let me.
So there's a startup sequence to this.
Yeah, well, this one's pretty easy. This one you just turn the key.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, this one's very simple. So
cool.
So we could actually go through that real quick. So basically, put the key in on this car, turn it on, everything lights up, and we're ready to go.
Good to go.
Air. That was air conditioning we were looking for, right?
That's it. I love these windows.
You know what? I don't know why they got rid of them. You know, they should be part of every car. Still till today.
Passive cooling.
I love them, especially in California, where you don't really need a lot of air conditioning. Yeah, so you get to hear a lot in this car because it is fully caged, so it does have a lot of audible feedback. Everything inside the car goes right through the cage. The cages do tend to resonate and make more. So yeah, that just spun those 335s like they were nothing.
A little bit of a chirp.
Yeah. Well, you won't hear these tires because they are R888s. They're very soft compound, so they tend to. You know, they don't make noise. Because they're so soft.
Yeah. That acceleration
As
is
you can
smooth.
see, the cornering of this car is very, it's not like a Mustang.
No.
And that's the best part. I didn't have to warm up the engine.
No.
We just
went.
went for it. Now we are on city streets, so I don't go over the speed limit. We'll accelerate fast, but it's, you know, we do abide by the laws.
Yeah, 0 to speed limit.
0 to speed limit in 0 seconds flat. It's really fun.
You can really feel that 600 horsepower in there.
Yeah, and torque is where you really get it. It's like, you know, horsepower is one thing, but what I really like is torque. One of my favorite vehicles to drive, believe it or not, is my F-250.
Really?
Diesel.
Yeah.
It's it just, once the turbo hits, you just have this you just feel it. Everything just wants to just pull and twist and move. Somebody on their cell phone
Cell
again.
phone.
Yeah. And we're only about 50% state of charge, so these Tesla packs don't like to sit low. When this car is fully charged, it hits really hard. We'll probably pick up another 75 to 100 horsepower in full charge.
Yeah, so because it's a Tesla pack, you still have that same voltage sag that we all deal with.
Massive.
Yeah.
So the pack that's in this car right now, we temporarily put in for SEMA 3 years ago, now 4 years ago. And you know what a temporary fix is, right? Permanent.
Permanent.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be permanent. We do have a new battery pack that we're designing, and it's going to go in this car. A lot less sag, a lot more amperage behind it, and sustained amperage. So a lot of those issues that we run into with the massive voltage sag, like right now, we're at 360 volts, basically, when my foot's off the throttle. As soon as I hit it, we're going down to 270. So we're losing almost 100 volts just on opening the thing wide open. So that's a lot, you know. And then what tends to happen too is when you get that much voltage sag, you lose not only, you know, you lose on the bottom end, but you lose way more on the top end. So once you hit a high RPM, if you don't have the voltage to sustain that higher RPM, you're gonna nose over real fast.
It just falls off.
Just falls off. So that's why some of the other cars you see, you know, 600, 800 volts, what you're doing is you're just prolonging that nose over. So you don't go over the waterfall, is what I call it. It's like, oh, here comes the waterfall, okay, we're done. But it really does help when you up the voltages. Our next battery pack that we're gonna put in this car, I'm actually gonna push it up above 400 volts. We're probably gonna be sitting on the top of the charge about 430. That's where I'm gonna cut and cap it, just to give myself that extra 30 volts on top of the 400 that we have now to help mitigate some of that sag.
Yeah.
The batteries that we've been testing, I shouldn't get more than about 30 volts of sag. So that'll put me at the 400 volts at full throttle, is what I'm trying to aim for with this car. So we do get the full 600 horsepower. Because right now we're only getting about 417.
Okay.
So what you're feeling is not even the full
It's
six.
not even the full.
Yeah, you're about 400 now with the state of charge we're at. So a lot of that stuff can be mitigated. People don't, that's the part that people don't really get to experiment with. And, you know, being here at Revolt Systems, we're just a giant, you know, experimentation shop.
Sure.
There's constant work that we're doing to find things, improve things, and really understand what's going on inside these electric motors to get as much performance as we possibly can squeeze out of them. A lot of the stuff that we do is, you know, R&D, heavy testing, everything. And this car has 10,000 miles on it. There's not a car of this show quality, I think, that has the amount of mileage that we've been on it. Every one of our products goes in here first. Our contactor boxes, our motors. We're developing a new motor right now. It's much smaller.
Really?
It's based on the small drive unit, and it's actually going to go in here. And people are asking, well, why are you going to downgrade the Mustang? I'm like, well, because I have to test what we make.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like building another car right now. I already have one. Why not we put that powertrain in here for 6 months and test the hell out of it and make sure everything's perfect, because I'll drive it every single day.
Then you know, you got the cycles in, you know if something is gonna need some adjustment.
And it's nice to know too, because this particular car, we built this car. I know this car inside and out. I know how it feels in corners. I know how it feels in acceleration. Every little squeak you're hearing, I've been tuned to.
Yeah.
So if I put a different power plant in here, I get to really, really focus on the power plant versus, hey, what else changed? Nothing else changed. All you did is swap motors. So now, like when we try a different controller or a different VCU, it goes in here first, and I could tell the difference of the throttle immediately because I know how this car behaves.
Sure.
I've been driving it for almost, 5 years now. And every single time we make a change to it, the car's the same. Everything stays identical. And you know, when we switched out the gearboxes for the 6XD stuff, the harmonics of the car completely changed.
Oh, I bet.
Everything changed. Like, oh, what's that? Oh, that's a new sound. What's this doing? We found out we had an imbalanced, or the rear end was misaligned.
Really?
Because it's like you could hear different things. Because we put a different rear end in it, and we got a different frequency of vibration. So we started going through the car, trying to figure out where that vibration was coming from. It's like, oh, well, it was the rear end.
Wow.
We bought the casing secondhand, and I think it was bent. So the pinion gear wasn't quite happy. But having the same vehicle to test with over and over again, it really keeps everything so consistent across the board. That way, when you make one change, you could really focus on that one change and how it affected everything in the grand scheme of things. You know, you're hearing some audible feedback from this gearbox.
Yeah.
You hear a little bit of a whine.
I kind of love that one.
Me too.
I think it's great.
The straight cut gearbox is 10 times louder than this. It sounds like a race car. It's awesome. It's like the thing really is, it's just right in your head. And it's neat because we just changed one part and now the car sounds different. If you're rolling down the road like this, people are actually turning their heads.
Sure.
They're going, what is that
What
sound?
is that? Yeah. Because it's not a Prius backing up.
Of course, and everyone knows what a hot rod sounds like.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what a Prius sounds like or a Tesla sounds like. They don't know what this thing sounds like, especially with spur gears in it. So the human ear has been, you know, we walk around every day and we hear thousands and thousands of different noises, and we're accustomed to them. So if there's something that you're not used to, it's just gonna grab your attention. So with that gearbox, we would leave it, so third gear is a pass-through gear. That means it doesn't really go through any gears. It's just one-to-one. But second and first gear go through the spur gears, and spur gears are extremely loud. So when I'm driving down the road in first or second gear, even like at 20 miles an hour, everyone is stopping and turning around going, where's this? What is this? And then they look at this car, which is a pretty wild looking car.
Yeah.
And they're just scratching their heads. No one has any idea what the hell is going on, which is fun. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good way to make friends.
Yeah.
So what happened with that testing? I see that the gearbox is no longer there.
Nope.
It's gone.
So we...
Successful overall?
Gearbox, highly successful.
Okay.
I love the Gearbox. 6XD does great work. Unfortunately, the Tesla motors and cores that we use weren't designed to be put into a gearbox with that kind of a shock load on them. We did not have a clutch on that particular car. So the Tesla motors, you know, they're designed, they go in a gearbox, it's like a 9.5, let's just say to 1.
Yeah, single gear.
Single gear, and everything's very nice and linear, there's no shifting, everything's nice and smooth. And if something does come unglued, it's usually the tires are gonna spin, and it's not gonna hurt anything inside of it. Well, the rotors on these are about 60-some pounds. And when you take those things up to about, 6, 7, 8,000 RPM, and then shift with no clutch in a sequential gearbox, and especially the gear ratio that we had was pretty large. Once you shift into second gear, it just bang, everything stops. So you're going from like 7 or 8,000 RPM down to like 5 instantaneously. So you get all that rotating mass, and once that mass slows down that quickly, something's gonna give.
Yeah.
Either the tire's gonna give out, and this car hooks up really well. So we ended up basically just slicing the shaft right in half. Just completely grenaded the shaft.
Dang.
Because the Tesla motors are made for it. You look at a shaft coming out of an LS, they're pretty big, where the Tesla rotor shaft is it's about an inch. It's tiny. And the heat treating on it isn't that great. Once again, they were never designed to do that. So what we're going to do now right now is we're going to go back to trying to put a clutch in it. I would love to have a third pedal here. I grew up driving a manual. I love driving manuals.
Kind of miss it a little bit.
I miss it a lot.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoy grabbing and having that kind of control over the vehicle.
You can't find those anymore.
No.
It's so funny.
I kicked myself. I had a 2006 Acura TAL Type S and had a 6-speed in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it wasn't the fastest car in the world, but the thing handled really well and had a 6-speed in it. And it was just fun.
Super fun.
Super fun. When I took my driver's test, I was 16 years old. I pulled it in the DMV and I had my mom's Subaru and it was a 5-speed stick.
Yeah.
And the guy got in, he looked over at me, he looks down, he goes, "Manual transmission, huh?" I said, "Yes, sir." He goes, "You sure you want to do this?" I'm all, "That's all I drive." He goes, "All right, let's do this." And I ended up passing perfectly with that one.
Yeah. Once you get the hang of it, it's not that bad.
It's great.
Yeah,
It's fun.
I love it.
I do miss it. So it's going to go back in the car. We just, once again, everything that we do is all R&D.
Yeah.
You're going to fail a few times before things get right.
It's probably a good lesson there because I think it's so tempting for people to want to like try something and get it perfect the first time.
Never happens.
It's very disappointing. Like, oh, it didn't work. I don't know. There's life lessons in a 65 Mustang.
Oh, absolutely. Well, anything you do, you know, the first time I built everything, I mean, there's been revisions in revision 2, revision 3, revision 4. But once again, you can't be afraid of failing. When we went to Bonneville the first time, we couldn't get over 300 miles an hour. And there were some guys there that, you know, they're not the nicest of people, and they made fun of us. They're like, "Oh, yeah, electric thing, you can't even go over 300. Well, going over 300 is extremely hard. People don't realize how much is going on outside, especially with the air and wind and all the stuff. That
It starts getting exponentially harder.
Very, very, very much so. So it's like, basically, for every 100 miles an hour, you need 4 times the amount of power that you did for the first 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
So one of the, like, simple math, 100 horsepower, let's say when a certain vehicle gets you 100 miles an hour, you're gonna need 400 horsepower to get to 2 and 1600 to get to 3.
That's wild.
So it is exponential. So the first time I went to Bonneville, we failed. We couldn't get over 300. The record we were chasing is 341. The difference between 300 and 341 sounds small. It is like, that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of horsepower. And our battery kept failing. Went back, redesigned the battery, and I took that failure as like, oh, I gotta make this better. And we learned from it. Some of the stuff we learned from Bonneville, actually a lot of the stuff we learned from Bonneville, we still apply to a lot of our engineering right now, especially with the battery tech, because the batteries is the most crucial part of the car.
Make or break.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that car couldn't do 300 miles an hour. And then all we did is reconfigured and put a new battery pack in it, and we did 359.
Wow.
That's insane. And the only thing I changed was the battery pack. So that goes to show you, even with this car, we were talking about this earlier, if I upgrade the pack in this, we'll probably pick up another 100 horsepower without a doubt. Maybe even more.
And that would be consistent horsepower at full throttle.
Correct. Yeah, we're not getting these big sags and dips, which the Tesla batteries, they're not made for performance. They're made for long distances. So, you know, you got a guy that runs marathons or a guy that sprints. You know, you don't really get both.
Yeah.
You get one or the other. Now, battery tech is getting better. We are getting now a better blend of the both. Because as time goes on, we're able to blend the two types of technologies together and make it better. But you know, you got to pick and choose which direction you want to go first. I don't really care about doing 300 or 400 miles in this car. It's a hot rod.
Yeah.
Yeah, 150 miles is plenty. And right now, I got 220, 240 miles range on tap. I don't ever drive that far, you know, and I don't know too many people that do. We do get a lot of hot rod guys like, well, what's your range? I'm like, oh, about 220 miles. Oh, all right. They start griping. I'm like, well, how far did this car go stock?
Yeah.
Not even 200 miles. I think the tank was like a 12-gallon tank, and the thing's getting, you know, 10 miles to the gallon. You do the math.
Right.
It's just, and usually you don't drive them that nicely, so you only get about 150 miles out of a tank of gas.
Or less. I remember when I was at Buttonwillow racing, and it's really nice. There's a supercharger right there. You can just like go. But a lot of my buddies in gas cars, they get 20 miles to the gallon in a V8 around town or on the highways, but on the track they're getting like 2.
Oh, that's terrible.
And then they got to spend $80 to fill up their tank after a 20-minute session. So it's like it kind of evens out at the end, because performance takes energy.
Extreme amount. You know, that's why even with, you know, the new F-150 Lightning and all these new trucks coming out, they're great vehicles, but now they have bigger tires. Their rolling resistance is different. The aerodynamics are different. You want to put a trailer behind it.
Yeah.
Now you want to tow things with it. You're going to be dropping like crazy.
Sure.
Unfortunately, our charging isn't that fast yet. I mean, we're getting there. We're charging fairly quickly. In 15 minutes, my car is basically, I get enough charge to drive around for 2 days. I had a 15-minute charge at the supercharger with my Tesla. And people gripe about it. I'm like, really? I mean, you show up to a gas station, you pump your gas, you wash your windows. I mean, you can spend 10, 15 minutes there easily.
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a deal.
It's just what people are used to.
Exactly. And one of the biggest things I like about the electric cars is the fact that when I come home and I wake up the next morning, my tank's full.
Yeah.
You can't say that with a gas car.
There's some independence to it as well, because you can charge your batteries with solar at anywhere around. Like, you're not tethered to a gas station.
No, actually,
I love that.
I'm living proof. I built a house completely scratch from the ground up. My wife and I did, and it's a substantially large house. I got 3 kids, 2 laundry rooms, 3 heat pumps on it, 3 AC compressors, 5 tons each. We go through anywhere between 80 to 150 kilowatts a day, which is massive.
That's very big. Yeah.
I also charge my cars there.
Sure.
And we are one of the few people here in San Diego County that is 100% disconnected from the electric utility.
That's the dream.
When I built the house, one of the things on the code was, what's your utility? And I listed myself, which you're allowed to do.
Can you?
Yes, you just have to get it permitted properly, inspected, which we did. Everything's completely 100% legit. And it's really neat to be able to be completely 100% energy independent. Now, I'm not preaching any kind of green stuff, as you noticed, because I'm not here to do that. I'm all about being independent. I don't want to be under the energy company's thumb.
Yeah.
I want to produce all my own electricity and do whatever I want with it. And that's why I chose that route, for no reason but that. And, you know, I have 3 electric cars, actually 4, with me and my wife. So we have a total of 4 cars, and we rarely supercharge. I'll have either this car or my other Tesla, or we have the Tesla Mino, and I'll leave one charging during the day. And we're not always sunny, so I'm not always getting that great, wonderful California sunshine. But when we do, which is 90% of the time, one of the cars is always charging. And then the next day I grab that car and I charge the other one, because at nighttime we don't charge.
Sure.
Our batteries are only so big at the house, and that has to maintain our living. But as you said, it is great to wake up, my tank is full. I hated going to the gas stations.
Yeah.
And it's always very inconvenient. I got kids, I'm driving them to school, I'm like, oh man, my tank's empty, I gotta stop and get gas, and there's traffic on the freeway, and now I gotta get off the freeway. And if you actually time it, it's at least 15 to 20 minutes to do that.
For sure.
It's like, sometimes worse, because, there's no gas station nearby, I gotta go somewhere.
It's always more expensive, no matter what.
Exactly. So it is nice being able to have that, you know, that flexibility of just waking up and not having to worry about your car, and it's always charged.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about that.
I think so too.
But the rain got down here yesterday.
I was surprised.
I was so happy. We needed it. It's been so dry.
Cleans everything off.
Yeah, I've been working on, my yard is all dirt, as I said, I built my own house. So recently I've been working on the yard, putting in all sorts of, you know, irrigation. And being out in the dirt when it's that dry, it's just dusty and nasty, and nothing compacts. You got to constantly be watering stuff. It's nice to have Mother Nature give us a little help.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you barely touch it. Just
You're right though. It doesn't chirp. It's smooth. It's just when the wheels do spin a little bit, it's just buttery smooth.
And we have a lot of control over that because of electric motors. You know, it's full torque right there. You know, I could drop it. I could push it anytime. You know, anytime I want. I have full control of the car.
Yeah. Little sideways there.
Yeah. And I'm not making everyone angry around me either. And I have all this drama to light it. You know, if I want to get the tires to spin a little bit, not everyone's looking.
Yeah.
It's because it's quiet. It's linear. No one even knows it happens. Because usually, if you did that with a regular hot rod, you got everybody in the wrong kind of attention.
I used to live next to a stop sign, and every car would stop at that stop sign and then just rip it 24 hours a day.
It gets annoying.
It's super annoying. The more I drive EVs, the less excited I am about just random loud engine noises.
You know what? You got me there. One of the biggest things people always complain about with EVs, sound, this, and I'm like, well, yeah, you get the sound, you don't get the engine roar anymore. But the whole time we've been driving, what have you been listening to?
You've just been talking.
Yeah, but you also hear other stuff.
Yes.
You're hearing things.
Feedback from the car, too.
You would never hear that with a gas engine.
No, nothing.
Well, when I broke my sway bar, I knew it instantly because I could hear it. And I heard something, and when I've gone through a rear end or two in this car as well, if I had a gas engine, I probably would have noticed that the gears were starting to mesh wrong. Because you don't hear it, because the engine is basically silencing all those, even right now you can hear those little creaks and everything. Yeah. Okay, it's time for me to go around the car and grease up all my zero fittings. You would have never known that before, and then it would have worn out, and then at that point you got to replace it.
Then it's replacement.
Exactly. So I actually like the EV portion of it, especially like going back to what I talked about earlier, the amount of testing and tuning that we're doing.
Yeah.
It really helps to have a quiet car because now I can really pinpoint where the problem is. Where if you have a roaring engine, you're trying to figure out what's making noise, it's really tough to do that. Especially if it's a noise that has to be road tested. Versus, okay, well, maybe it's a suspension thing, we just kind of jump on one corner of the car and make it squeak. No, if it's a gear system or maybe the car's torquing a certain way when it's accelerating, that's where it's really hard to pinpoint these things. With the EV, you're like, oh, it's step right, front right. Well, how do you know? Well, you can hear it.
You can hear it. Yeah.
What I like about too is when we do go, push the car around corners. As I said, one of the local mountains here I like to drive on. When you're going around the corners, I noticed on a hot day or a cold day, the tires make a completely different sound.
Really? The compound
is how reacting. It sticks. The substrate that we're on, when we hit a patch where there's a little bit of sand or something, you hear it and you feel it. The car tends to drift a little bit differently, but now you're hearing that. You're hearing what the tires are doing there. They're talking to you the whole time.
Yeah.
And with that loud engine noise, you can't hear it. One of the first experiences I ever had about that was I bought an Alta, which is an electric dirt bike. And I used to race 450s and 250s when I was younger. And, you got this loud engine the whole entire time, 2-stroke or 4-stroke. When I was on my Alta, it took a little getting used to, but also what you would hear is you would hear the chain. You would hear the tire gripping. So when you're going around a corner, you're accelerating, instead of just feeling the back end washing out on you, you would hear it before it starts that. So you almost get a quick little, hey, this is coming, before it hits. So when you're going around a corner and you hear the back tire starting to loosen up when it hits a different patch of gravel, your mind is already, okay, I heard it. By the time you feel it, it's almost too late. So it actually helped my riding. It helped me in corners.
It's an advantage.
Absolutely, and it really put me in tune of what the bike is doing, what my terrain around me is affecting my bike and the tires. I noticed too when my tires start wearing down, they make a different sound. And I never heard that. I've been riding dirt bikes since I was probably 13, 14 years old. Never heard this type of stuff. And my chain, I'm like, oh, it needs oil. How do you know your chain is? Well, I could hear it. You can never hear that with an engine.
No.
So everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people knock, oh, you're no more sound. I'm over it. I'll trade sound for torque and the feedback I'm getting any day.
Yeah, no doubt. That was the other the other thing that really was driven home at this stop sign is that a couple times I would look out and try and see, oh, that sounds interesting, what is it? And man, they're slow. When they're accelerating, it's lots of loud and no go.
A lot of bark and no bite.
Yeah.
We see that too. You see these guys with all their exhausts and everything else making, and you're looking at it going, the guy's going like 25 or 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
He's making a lot of noise though.
Not going anywhere.
Sounds cool. Doesn't look very cool though. I'm all about the performance side, so
yeah.
You know, I don't miss the sound. Everyone's like, "Do you miss the sound?" At first I did, but now, honestly, because of the torque and everything else I get in exchange, and I don't. You know, I got on my buddy's KTM not too long ago. We traded bikes at the racetrack, and I jumped on his brand new factory KTM 450. It's state of the art everything, and he jumped on my Alta.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get him off my Alta, and I couldn't get myself off of that KTM fast enough. And I'm a guy that's how I started racing. I raced my whole life with clutch and a gas engine. After about 4 laps, I was just tired of the clutch. I was tired of shifting gears. I was tired of all the extra noise and vibration in that bike. I felt like I went back into the Stone Age. And I was driving something that was very prehistoric. And I'll probably get a lot of crap for this, and that's fine. But once you drive an EV and you drive it not just down the road like we're doing right now, but you actually take it to a track, or you push it, or you race it, you know, with the motorcycles and everything else. Once you go through that, then you start realizing the true potential of what you have.
Yeah.
And how amazing and how much better it is for everything. Period. You know, just a hard stop on it. It's just better. You know, yes, but it doesn't charge as fast, but it's heavier, but, yeah, but all that stuff is changing so quickly. My first Tesla used to charge at 65 kilowatts an hour. My new ones charge 200.
Yeah.
It's almost 4 times faster. And some of the newer ones are like 250. I think a Cybertruck is almost 300. So all that stuff is going away very quickly.
Yeah. And there's always trade-offs to everything that you do.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
And I'm not like this big, we have to go electric, we have to save our planet. No, it's just, to me, it's just a better option.
Yeah.
Especially for my type of driving and what I like to do. And we're sitting here having a conversation, and we just drove about 10 miles, and I didn't have to raise my voice.
Yeah. No earplugs required.
No.
In most other 65 Mustangs, we'd probably be a little bit, our voices might be hoarse at this point.
And the sound, after a while, it does get annoying. I had a 67 in high school, and I put headers on it, and I put a big exhaust on it, and all the parents hated it. I liked it, and then I started driving further and further, and after about 15, 20, 30 miles of that, you're like, you just want to listen to your radio.
Yeah.
You're tired of that just loud noise resonating through the car.
I've done pretty decent road trips in my Tesla, and when I get there, my body feels a little less tired too, I gotta say. Yeah, less vibration.
Yeah, and it's nice to be able to talk in your car and take a phone call. And you're right, it is more relaxing. There are studies out there too that the noise pollution, it does stimulate your mind differently. Depending on what kind of noises you're around.
Yeah.
Some things are very agitating. Certain harmonics don't work well with your brain. So I think a lot of that, why have we been putting exhaust on cars forever? To quiet them down.
Sure, yeah.
It's a big thing, is having a quiet running car. And all the luxury cars are quiet.
And then something like this is the best of both worlds, because you got the classic style and the modern performance.
It's fun.
It is so cool, so fun.
So those are kind of our local little Oceanside beach here. Because where do you live at?
I'm in Sacramento.
Oh, you're in Sacramento. Oh,
yeah.
You're way up there. What are you doing down here?
I'm here for a buddy's wedding.
Okay,
and to
you're
see
at conference
you.
last time, right?
Conference last time, yeah.
So this is a very famous home. If you want to take a little quick look at that, and look at the motorcycle out front. Does that bring you back to any movies that you saw? Maybe something called Top Gun?
Oh, no way.
That is the Top Gun house, the original.
Wow.
And that's the Kawasaki he drove. So that house used to be right on the corner down there.
Oh, they moved it?
And they moved it. This place used to be pretty run down. It's an old military town. It didn't have the best rap. And then the Wyndham moved in and built all these giant, skyscrapers. Oh, for us, they're skyscrapers because this used to be all just little shacks.
Sure.
When I was growing up, but it's nice now. They have the Seabird here, and they kind of cleaned the place up. So the house used to be right here on this corner. It was right here, so they moved it over about a block and a half, and it was just falling apart. It was kind of sagging to one side, and they didn't know what to do with it. Finally, when all these big developers came in, they cleaned the place up, and we have Top Gun.
It looks lively now. Lots of people out,
Yeah, we've got to
enjoying the day.
It's a pie shop now. This is the famous Oceanside Pier. So they might be having some event down here tonight. Today is Thursday, right?
Today is Thursday.
Oh yeah, they're having the farmers market every Thursday. Rain or shine.
Family lore, my grandpa grew up around here, but he moved long before I was born, and before I had met him. I never met him or anything, so it's always kind of stuck in my head that there is a family connection here.
It's cool. I like this place. It's got a lot of history. Yeah, we do have the big military base with all the Marines out here, especially during World War II. It was very, very big.
Booming then.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's how this town basically started, is because of the war. If you look back at some of the Pacific, especially the Battle of the Pacific that we had, because we fought a couple different fronts, one in Europe and one in the Pacific with the Japanese. But there's a very famous Marine. His name was John Basilone, and he was actually he came out of Camp Pendleton here. So one of the roads here is actually named after him. He was a war hero. He saved his entire platoon. I don't exactly recall the full story, and then they brought him back, and they basically televised the hell out of him. And he was on TV. He was doing all his tours, and he goes, "I don't want to be your puppet. I want to be back on the front lines fighting."
Oh wow!
So he went back out and got killed. So a lot of history like that.
That is a lot of history.
But it's cool to have that as your hometown.
It is.
I do consider this my hometown. So we're giving you guys more of a story than anything else on this drive.
Yeah, I think it's full dimension. The drive, the ocean, the history.
Yeah, it's just,
doesn't get better than that.
Hot rodding started here in Southern California. Actually, the little drive we're doing right now, this is a lot of people on the weekends come out here with their hot rods and do these little cruises. This little strand that we're going up and down right now, especially during the summer, a lot of these are vacation rentals.
Sure.
So during the weekends, everyone's out here having their cocktails and drinking, having a good time. And a lot of times you'll see people out here with little cards, 1 through 10. And they'll actually judge your car. They'll rate your car.
Rate the car.
I was out here with the green flash that we did for Simple Green, that 1936 Cord.
Yeah.
And at the end here, a bunch of guys had their little, paper plates. And I got 10s, and one guy had a 9 on. I'm like, 9, really? And he goes, well, there's no hood on it. I'm all, look underneath. There's a reason there's not a hood on this. Well, we're still testing the car.
Yeah.
And he looked into it. He goes, what the heck is that? I'm like, that's the electric motor. And he pulled out the 10 real quick.
Right,
He goes,
nice.
oh, okay, now I know you took the hood off.
There was a reason.
There was a reason. I got some surf today, too. That storm brought in a little bit of a swell.
Air's clean.
Oh, I love it. This is my favorite, right after a nice rain.
So this is kind of cruise central here, but I don't think we've talked about the benchmarks when it is on the track, like 0 to 60. What is the quarter mile?
The quarter miles in the high 10s.
High 10s.
Yeah, high 10s right now.
Okay.
Barely. It's barely squeaking into the 10s, and a lot of that has to do with the battery.
Sure.
Usually runs.
Charge it to 95.
We're got 100.
Oh, we're at 100.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we still, it usually runs like a low 11, high 10. I want to get down in the lower 10s, and the battery will change everything once we do that. Also, the new battery pack's going to be about 200 pounds lighter.
Yeah. Well, the
So-
car's already pretty light.
It's 3,350 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's not bad at all. The weight distribution is probably our biggest factor in this car is we do have a 50-50 split on this car.
Okay, better for the circuit.
Absolutely. I mean, you've been in it a little bit. It takes corners very well. It likes that kind of, that's where it really shines.
Yeah.
You know, it isn't a quarter-mile car. I never built it to be a quarter-mile car. I built this thing to be able to drive and corner. It is sitting on a full Roadster Shop chassis. We do have QA1 coilovers around the whole entire car. We are using the Mod series shocks that they have, which are amazing. Fully adjustable. You have rebound and compression, which is great. We also have high speed and low speed for rebound and compression. So we're really able to fine tune every aspect of this car's handling, cornering, the corner to corner, the roll rate, all that. Our squat as well, if we do accelerate. You notice the car has very little roll in it. That's because of the QA1s we have on it. We did upgrade, we had a Fox shock on it before. We upgraded the QA1, and honestly, I'll never use any other shock on any one of my builds except for the QA1 mod shock. It's just been, it's that good. Also, I'm a kind of a sucker when it comes to billet work and that kind of, you know, craftsmanship. They're shocks. I'll show you them later. I think you have them on your other video.
Yeah, they're on the other video.
They're
so
gorgeous.
You guys want to dig in.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
On the lift.
Yeah, on the lift. Yeah, they even put ball bearings and roller bearings between the spring and the adjustments. So when you do adjust the shocks, it's not binding. You don't have to get your big spanner wrench out. You could actually just grab it with your hand and move it up.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you had to do it on the side of the road, which I have, you could do that. You could make all those little adjustments. So a lot of that stuff came into this car. You know, range, we already discussed range, about 240 miles tops. That's going to come down a little bit with our new batteries, but we're going to gain performance. Our quarter miles will get faster.
Yeah.
Once again, we're all about cornering this car. We got sway bars on it. We're actually adding a thicker sway bar and one to the rear. Car's chassis that is made by Roadster Shop did not come with a rear sway bar, but since we do push this car pretty hard, we want to put a secondary sway bar on it. I did break off the front one. We ripped it right out of the chassis at Howell Raceway when we were there last year. So there's all these little tiny things that, you know, now since the car has been driving for so many years, this is what we call the really finite and fine tuning.
Yeah.
What do we want to concentrate on? As I said, I'm not a quarter mile racer. The 0 to 60 on this thing is in the 3 seconds, mid threes. So
That's still faster than 95% of things on the road.
Oh yeah, I mean,
fast.
I had a guy pull up the road with a Ferrari in this car. I've had a lot of people try to race me in this car, and they've all lost at stoplights. You know, stoplight is stoplight. There's no chance. The only cars that have beat me, there's only one car that beat me in this, and it was a guy with one of the new Porsches, the new all-electric Porsches.
Yeah, Taken.
One of the Takens, and he had the all-wheel drive, like super crazy one, and he got me by about 2 or 3 car lengths, and he smoked me.
Yeah.
But then again, he has way more traction and more power in
the all-wheel drive.
So I did give him a little run for his money at first, and then he just kept on pulling, and you know, it was interesting to watch that.
It'd be interesting to see on the track with some twisties how that would, if that would still translate the same.
Probably, I'd probably be able to get him on that because I'm lighter.
Right.
And I do have quite a bit of traction on this car. We do have the Toyo R888s on here, which are very sticky. So they do corner very, very well. One of the things that I noticed when we were on the track at Hallett is we did have a 600 or 700 horsepower blown Coyote 1967 fastback that we were up against, and he could not accelerate me. He could not out-corner me. No part of that car performed better than we did.
Nice.
And that guy had a lot of money in that vehicle.
Yeah.
And we took him to the cleaners and everything, not just straightaways, corners, all of it. And going back to the weight distribution, that has a lot to do with how well you corner.
Yeah.
When you do take
for the rotation.
Of course, if you're nose heavy, you know, your car is going to perform much differently in corners than if you're tail heavy. What you really want when you're going through corners is that nice 50-50 distribution. So your back end doesn't wash out on you, your front end's not washing out. You're not fishtailing all over the place. You have a nice consistent, you know, pull throughout the corner. And with the electric motor too, what I could do is I'm always in my power bank.
Yeah.
I'm never fighting gears and, oh, I wasn't in the right gear in that corner. I could have accelerated better if I was in third versus second or fourth. There's none of that. It's all in my foot and how I modulate it, so I can really get a clean corner and clean brake out of it. I can take my apex of my turn differently because I'm now just concentrating on one thing, how to corner. Right. Versus, you know, it is easier when you alleviate your brain from all the other things going on when you're pushing those limits. If I don't have to worry about which gear I'm in, it makes my driving experience easier.
Yeah.
I could spend that brain power now on the corner and how I'm going to exit and enter, where the apex is, and really kind of go through those little tiny finite details of those little pieces of how I'm driving the vehicle. We do have power steering in this car, power brakes, so it does stop very quickly. This entire drive, I've actually not even really touched the brakes.
So you have regen hooked up?
Full regen, yeah.
How do you like that when it comes to cornering?
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. It also allows me more control, like I talked about. So I'm
almost
now,
like built-in trailing braking.
It is, yeah. So when I lift around corners, depending on how fast and hot I'm coming in, Hallett is it has a couple real long straightaways. So when we're on that track, we were cooking our brakes, and if I didn't have regen that day, I mean, there are pictures of this car in corners with glowing red hot rotors in the middle of the day.
Wow.
With full sunlight. So that's how hot we got the rotors on this thing, and they did fade on me, and it was nice to have regen help us with that. So it took probably 20% of the braking away from the brakes and into the regen. Yeah. And at the end of the day, we were having some issues with the battery pack.
Because it gets hot from the regen.
Yes, we were getting a little hot, and we had a cooling system issue. So I had to turn regen off for the second part of the day. Oh. And I got sloppier in my turns. Yeah. Things weren't as good because I couldn't just, I'm a little hot, I have to take my foot off the throttle and put it, or you got your 2 feet going. Some people do, 1 foot on the brake, 1 foot on the throttle. I tend to drive more with my right foot than both. It's a preference. Some people do both. But it was nice just to be able to modulate and instantly have that feedback of my brakes turning on. Yeah. And I noticed the second part of the day where I turned my regen off, things just kind of didn't go as well.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Where is Hallett Raceway?
It's in Oklahoma.
Why have I not heard of that?
Oh, because it's in Oklahoma.
Okay. You answered my second question with the first answer.
Yeah, we have a really good friend out there, client. He runs brand new muscle cars. They actually have a show on Motor Trend, and they invited us to come out there. And they did a big Mustang day, and they actually have one of our motors for a client that they're building a car for.
Oh, sweet.
So they're putting all that together, and they wanted our car to come out there. So we flew out there. They shipped the car out. We did a whole track day. That's actually where I broke my sway bar.
Oh, amazing.
It was fun. It was a good experience for us, them. Everyone had a really good time. And we really made a splash because Oklahoma isn't your EV central place.
It's not a hub.
I don't actually ever remember seeing a single Tesla the entire time I was out there. So to take these guys that are very engine and petrol based and have them in a car that isn't what their norm is and watch their reactions be so positive about it, it was zero hate. Because they don't
ride-alongs and
stuff.
tons.
Yeah. Actually, some of the guys got to drive the car. They got to experience it. Tons of ride-alongs with guys that really know that track.
Yeah.
And you can just see the gears turning in their head going, you did a lot of different things. And they're all Mustang guys.
Yeah.
And they know how poorly these cars perform in corners. Mustangs are terrible for the track. I don't care what anyone says.
Any year, all years?
Well, especially the 60s.
Early ones.
The early ones are terrible. You guys probably see all those YouTube videos of the Mustang getting sideways.
Yeah.
And taking out a tree or a car.
Yeah.
That's very true. And the Mustang drivers get that bad rap. This car doesn't do that. This car is very good in corners because with the EV, we were able to design the vehicle in a way that our balance is set up correctly. I was able to place where I want my weight. I have about 850 pounds of batteries in this car. Now my engine and transmission, or motor, we should say, only weighs about 300 pounds. That's nothing, and it sits right here. So this is basically the front of the middle of the car. So most of the weight is right where my foot is. You are sitting on 4 Tesla batteries weighing 55 pounds apiece. So am I. So there's 200 pounds sitting right here of just batteries underneath our butts.
Yeah.
You look back here, there's a couple of batteries back there as well.
More.
So there's another 100 pounds. Behind the rear axle, there's 4. And in the trunk, there's 3. And in the front of the car, there's 3. So we're able to mitigate some of the motor weight to the rear of the car with the battery placement. We put it on scales and we hit almost 50-50 perfectly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Was it hard to plumb all of the cooling and everything between all of that?
That's the hardest part.
That's the hardest part.
Well, the plumbing's not so bad. It's more it's where you put the batteries.
Right.
Because they're not designed for a 1965 Mustang. And if you look at this car, there's not a flat part on the floor. Even look at where your feet are. It tapers, right?
Yeah.
So the bell housing flares out. So we couldn't put a battery right here because the batteries on the Tesla are rectangles. So we actually had to cut this floorboard out right where you see here. This is all brand new.
Is that bell housing wider as well?
Actually, it's thinner.
That's thinner.
We made that. So that's a custom bell housing that ABS Fabrication built us.
Okay.
Everything from this whole entire tunnel is refabricated. And we did that because we had to get these batteries in here. The stock tunnel would not allow us to do that.
Were you tempted to try to just put all the batteries in the floor?
Of course.
Like a Tesla?
Yep. But look where my head is.
Yeah,
I don't fit.
You can't fit a helmet.
I can't fit it. I barely sit.
Yeah.
We actually had Sparkos in this car. I had to take them out because of the helmet I didn't fit. So we had to do the Kirkies and drop the whole thing down.
Got it.
I'm 6'5", so I gotta be careful. You're a tall guy too. Yeah. So we don't really fit in cars, and then if I take even an inch out of the bottom, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So yes, we did sink the floorboards down. The batteries are sitting there, but that's all we could get in the floorboards. Ideally, I'd love to have all the batteries in the floorboards.
I mean, this is such a big renovation, restoration, I thought. Maybe, but yeah, that makes sense.
Tremendous amount, yeah. But you can only do so much.
You can only do so much in the design criteria.
Yep. And you know,
being tall.
Even when I bought the chassis from Roadster Shop is designed to either hold an LS or a V8.
Yeah.
And exhaust. They have ports for the exhaust to go through. Now, if I designed the chassis myself, I could have designed the batteries into the chassis. We got a really good friend down in Florida at HR Manufacturing. He builds his own chassis, and he's building some EVs with our motor right now, and he's able to put all the batteries into the chassis like the OEs do it.
That's sweet.
It's the safest place to put a battery.
Yeah.
It's really low. It's surrounded by a frame of steel. So if you do get hit, the batteries aren't going to come out and say hello to you.
Right.
Stacking batteries, I think, is one of the dumbest things that we see in the EV conversion world, is where people will take modules and just start stacking them vertically. Well, that now just stretches out your center of gravity up higher. And if you are going to hit something, that thing's going to want to topple over. Where these are going to stay planted because they're flat,
right,
like pancakes. So a lot of that kind of engineering needs to take place, but what are we doing with the aftermarket world? We're making EVs out of cars that were never designed to do that.
Right.
So you're having very dangerous configurations of batteries, and it's just a matter of time until someone gets in an accident, one of these things comes flying out and hurts somebody, and we're going to hear about it.
I'm sure.
So we're trying to design all our new batteries to kind of encompass that flat, integrated, be able to, and they are smaller footprints, so they're easier to get into these cars.
Yeah. And
put them in places where it's going to be easier to fabricate them into an older vehicle versus like the Tesla cells in this car, they're 24 inches long. I mean, it's really tough to get something that's 12 inches wide and 24 inches long, and where are you going to put 16 of those things?
So the new batteries that you're working on that'll be announced later, those are not Tesla cell based, and it's going to be a different module shape.
Completely, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And,
that's cool.
You'll need less of them too.
Okay.
You only need 8 versus 16.
To still hit the 400 volts?
Yes, because our modules are 48 volts versus these are 24.
Yeah. Which that's going to be really clutch because I've looked at a lot of different batteries, and if you want to run all 400 volts, you have to have a pack that's many times it might be bigger than you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because how are you going to make 400 volts? You need all 16.
Yeah, that's the only way.
Well, even in that 1936 Court that we built for Symbol Green, we could only put 14 modules in there. So we took a 75 kilowatt, which is fine. That's not a performance car.
Right.
It doesn't
Beach
need all
cruiser.
It's a beach cruiser. And he's never going to drive that thing more than 25 or 30 miles. It's got a 170 mile range pack on it. He's got way more than he'll ever use. So in the, you know, mindset of not putting too much weight and all these crazy batteries that are there, we did strip out a couple modules, and it made our installation much easier on that. Yeah, we'll go take some corners up here a bit, so you kind of feel what it does in the corner.
Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
I got a little loop for that, so we'll have some fun.
Never gets old.
Never. And it's, you feel the corners are just so clean in this car. They don't, you know.
It feels in control.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're never sliding around like, oh no, what's it doing? And I know this car very well, and it does take corners. See that? Just on rails. We did that without exceeding the speed limit.
0 to speed limit.
But you see how it just hooks the corner.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes.
And not getting a lot of body roll. Yeah, we got a little bit of tire scrub on there, but that's just, it's gonna happen. That's why we're putting bigger sway bars in it too, because it kind of mitigates some of the tire scrub that we're getting. And you know, we're always. Oh, you know what? You wanted to go see that Corvette, right?
Yeah.
Let's go do it.
All right. It blows my mind how controlled that feels.
That was all 4 wheels, by the way.
That's all 4 wheels.
All 4 wheels.
U-turn.
Yep. Very controlled.
Yeah. That
I wasn't gonna make that corner, so I had to do a little
for safety.
for safety.
I agree. Yeah. No, we're a serious bunch over here.
Yeah. So this is my favorite fabrication shop. This place is called AVS Fabrication. This is the premier hot rod shop here in Southern California. And we want to give these guys as much love as we possibly can. Because he's the guy that built this car, or helped me build this car.
Yeah, in our other video, you talked about some of the specific parts that that he helped you with, so you guys check that out.
All the fabrication you see on this car, from the roll cage to the batteries to all that, Al from AVS did by hand. Everything here. This is probably one of the most beautiful hot rod shops you'll ever be in. So let's go take a tour.
All right. Well, this is cameras off here, so I'm gonna have a lot of fun, and we'll catch up with you guys in a little bit.
You want to take it for a cruise?
Sure, I won't say no.
All right.
Sounds great.
You all race ready?
Race ready. Yes, sir.
So give me a second, and then I'm just gonna put it in drive here for you. It's actually Bluetoothed.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yep.
So is that how you're doing all your shipping?
Well, we used to have a center console right here.
Oh, yeah.
But since we had to change a gearbox and everything else, we haven't put the buttons back in yet.
Got it.
So you are ready to roll whenever you want.
Ooh, it's got creep.
Yes, it does. I love putting creep in my car. It gives it, well, 2 reasons. It feels like a gas car.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm used to.
You're used to it.
And secondly, it is a safety factor.
How so?
Well, if you don't know it's running, how are you going to accidentally, you know, walk away from it?
Ah.
So if it's got creep, you know it's alive because it's constantly moving, right?
Yes.
There's been a few times that I've gotten into a car or turned the car off and I thought it was off. The brakes are very, very touchy. Yeah, we go this way. Brakes are very touchy, so you gotta get used to those. It's an I-booster that's made it stop a 5,000 pound car. We haven't put a restrictor on it yet.
Okay. Well, that's good for the track.
Yeah, it's a little too much sometimes. Regen's good.
Oh yeah, that's smooth regen.
So you'll make a right down here.
Oh, this feels so good.
You like it?
Yeah.
It's not what you expect out of a 65 Mustang.
Not at all. Not at all. The very little steering input. It just listens to where you ask it to go.
You stalled it.
I gotta admit that I'm used to just my Tesla, and
Sure.
I've definitely walked away with my wife's car running before.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why I put creep in it, because you know it's always wanting to walk away on you. There's been a couple instances that I've gotten into a car or tried to get out of it and I thought it was off.
Yeah.
And I touched the long skinny pedal on the right and almost sent it through a wall. So my rule at the office is every one of our cars, we program creep into it.
Yeah.
Therefore, it avoids all the confusion of, is this car still on? Especially since, you know, we do work for a lot of different types of people. You can make a right at this light.
Many folks might not be.
They're not, especially if they're not EV drivers.
Yeah, it might be the first time they've ever driven an EV.
Yeah,
makes sense.
And you want to build a layer of safety into everything that we do. So,
familiarity. Too.
Exactly. It's like, okay, they know as soon as their foot comes off the brake, the car is going to move.
Yeah.
Because that's just the first time I got an EV without creep. I hated it. I still don't like driving without creep. I think it's weird. How's the regen feel?
So
like your
smooth.
Tesla?
Yeah.
Kind of like your Tesla,
Regen.
right?
I drive Tesla.
Yeah, so it's kind of like your Tesla.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Yep.
The next lights make a right.
It's maybe a little.
No, keep going. At the light. You can get into it a little bit if you want. Go for it.
Yeah. Ah, feels good.
She's got power.
Yes.
Now make a right here, yeah. And you'll feel the corner out there. You can take it a little fast. Enjoy it. See? It's got a lot of push through.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the fun you could have. Yeah, you got a little taste there.
I did, yeah.
The back end got a little light on you.
Enough to where I felt that, and you feel it in your chest. You get excited.
Yeah.
Oh.
You just want to just keep doing it.
Yes,
It's
sir.
an addiction. So that torque you just can't get out of a gas motor. That instant, you know. Make a left here. And she stops well. It's like we try to make it as enjoyable to drive as we possibly can.
I see what you mean. The way this regen and brake are paired is perfect. With the Tesla, I feel like you come off the accelerator, the regen hits harder in a Tesla. This is a little bit more feathery, which is nice because going into a turn, I kind of want to maybe lift off a little bit and not have it slam you as much. But then when it's paired with just a little tap of the brakes, then it's just like all stop.
Yep.
I really like how that's been tuned.
Because we do tune the regen amount. Where Tesla gives you like 3 modes or 2 modes, we can give you any mode. We can go, it's a sweep of how much percent we want. So we can fine tune, you know, exactly versus just having like sport or chill.
Yeah.
We have anything in between.
So many options.
Yeah.
Well, I can feel like I can easily tell that you guys have done a lot of tuning on that. That's very cool. Stands out.
It's the little stuff. It's the little things that really, really count. That's what makes the car appealing to drive. Make a left at these lights.
People are gonna laugh while when they're watching this because I'm just sitting here with a big grin.
The smile is the best part. Yeah, it just wants to pull through corners.
It just does. It just goes.
Well, now you can see what it. Now since you felt it a little bit, you just imagine what it does on a track, or when you're really going up these mountains, like I like to go up the local hills. You know, you could really drag that through a corner and really change the weight balance in the vehicle with just the throttle. So since the cars are already balanced well just sitting on the ground, a lot of things happen in a corner, right? Your weight does shift a tremendous amount. So when you're in the corner, you can pull that weight towards the rear through the apex and then really kind of plant the car into the ground. So make a right, put it on this driveway right here.
Yeah, it's when I'm going into a corner, it feels like the rental car. It's like I kind of feel that moment where like, oh, this is the point where it's not going to be feeling good anymore. But then in this, it's like it almost like drops down.
Yes.
It has this weird sensation where you're going into the turn and then it just like hits down and goes.
It's on rails.
Oh my gosh.
So that's the QA ones too. A lot of fine tuning on the suspension. You know, that's not just the electric motor side of it, but a lot of it had to do with how we set the car up, how the suspension's balanced, the 4-link in the rear, the positioning of all that stuff. We did a lot of work went into making it feel that way. Cool. You just park it here. I'll pull it in.
Right here? Good?
Yep. Cool. Good right here.
Oh my gosh, what a treat.
There you go.
That was amazing. Thank you. And it's home.
You guys have fun?
Oh my gosh, almost too much fun, but not too much, almost.
Yeah, he got to feel it out in the corner a little bit.
Sweet.
Yeah, you let me drive it on the way back a little bit, and it just blew my mind.
Right?
Yeah, even riding in it, you kind of feel how it goes, but then when you're behind the wheel and you feel how the input translates, it's just unreal. Eddie, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Come back anytime.
I will take you up on that.
We're always going to have something fun here. Maybe next time you come down, we'll have a dragster ready with about 1,200 horsepower in it.
All right.
And we'll take you for a rip in that, and we'll do some wheelies.
Sounds like a plan. See you next time.
See you guys soon.